begin again.
All right, it's the 8th of June. Rabbi Furst, Havos Halavovos Heshbon Hanefesh.
Thank you again, Lou. As Lou mentions, Rabbi Shlomo Furst in Yeshiva Tzemach Yerushalayim Kiruv Zoom, learning Shah Heshbon Nefesh and Sefer Havos Halavovos, the ninth Heshbon daily. Now, specifically with our self-evaluation of our prayers, and we should be comparing the amount of energy and effort we put into our prayers and compared to other things which we do in a mundane sense. Okay, let's begin. We're in the paragraph um, I think we're, yeah. Okay, Lefi, the paragraph being Lefi Shayek Kabir al Nefesh.
Okay, Ulefi Haya Kavod al Hanefesh, the Zaher Kol Ze Bli Heshbon V'Seder. Let's see. For the sake of
Okay, not Lefi, because Lefi Shayek Kabir al Nefesh, because it is Kabir al Nefesh, it's difficult for a person. Since it is difficult for a person,
since it is difficult for a person uh, to remember all this without chibur, the seder. Seder is order. I don't know what chibur is.
Hebrew is without form and arrangement. I mean, again, we're just to focus in on the topic. We're discussing the importance of having a specific kavana when a person's davening, right? And so our prayers, our prayers have been arranged for us with a um, specific form and arrangement. And the reason for that is, as he's explaining to us now, because it's really difficult for a person to maintain his kavana, right, when he has to start doing this on his own. So therefore, in order to make it easier for us, right, it's been already pre-arranged and pre-ordered the arrangement of our prayers, and so we stick to those arrangements of our prayers. And even at that, it's a difficult thing to keep your and maintain your kavana at a high level. But it would be even more difficult, in fact, maybe also at this time, maybe even not very almost impossible to pray with all the things you have to remember to do, and if it wouldn't be in a specific standardized format. So therefore, in our time, actually since the time of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, we've had a specific format of our prayers.
Let's see. Sedro Rabosenu Zal Ha Inyanim Shetzarichim Lahem Rov Katuv B'nei Adam.
That's kitos. Rov kitos b'nei adam. Rov kitos b'nei adam.
Ketos B'nei
Kitos are groups of,
groups.
right. So now it's been Sidro Raboseno. I mean, our rabbis have arranged for us the um, the topics that are needed for Rove Kitas Benera, most groups of people, for most groups of people.
Uh, uh, הנראה, חסרונם בהם על האלוקים כיוון וקניינסם בעבורם. So let's see, it would seem chesronim.
That he Venira Hasronam Behem El Elokim Kinyanehem Ba'avurum. That it's according to Hanira Hesronam Behem. It's as it appears because of the things that they lack.
To Hashem, I don't know, Kinisam.
Yeah, this is a difficult passage over here. How do they explain it in a clear way in your safer there, Mayor? This sentence.
Let's see. Okay, so our rabbis, okay, blessed memory, formulated what to most classes of people are the essentials through which their dependence on Hashem and resultant submission are evident.
Okay, yes, resulted kiniyasam submission, because of them, right, and the submission that we have to Hashem because of them. Since there are many different things which we lack and we're in need of from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, so through arranging that in the standard passages of our prayers, right, we come to acknowledge our lacking and our need for Kadosh Baruch Hu, and that brings us to a certain degree of submissiveness and humbleness before Kadosh Baruch Hu. Right, very good. Yeah, that's good.
V'heim inyanei hatefillah al seder usekon. And they are the subjects of the prayers concerning the arrangement of the fixing.
They're according to the state arrangement and the structure.
Structure. She tikabel ba hanefesh penei borei velo chashuv behis nafal behis nifala. That one receives the
right. That a person should be able to approach Kadosh Baruch Hu, person should be able to approach Kadosh Baruch Hu lo sevosh hisnap fila, and he should not be disgraced through his lowliness.
So,
I think
but had to.
basically explaining here is if people had to, as they did when generations were on a higher level than us, so they were on a higher level that they could approach the Kadosh Baruch Hu with in prayer through their own prayers as they would compose them, and they would pray from the heart directly to a Kadosh Baruch Hu without the need for a standard structure of prayer. But for us that have a difficulty concentrating and fixing and bearing all these things in mind, if we had to do that, right, we would not be able to approach the Kadosh Baruch Hu without a sense of inadequateness. And we're supposed to be approaching Hashem even without haughtiness, and we have to approach Hashem anyway with a feeling of inadequateness. But if we had to compose our own prayers, it would be impossible that we could even approach a Kadosh Baruch Hu for the great lack of ability for us to even compose our own prayers.
V'yir'eh mimene b'seder inyanei hatafila believe chachania b'hashpilos la'elokim.
That's right, a shiftless, the shiftless Elohim. That meaning that therefore the ways that the prayers have been arranged, right? The prayers that we have um are organizing the various details of our prayers, and it'll be in a way that will have the proper humility and submissiveness to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Meaning through the prayers, if we pay attention properly to our prayers, the prayers they themselves will bring a person to a certain state of submissiveness and humbleness towards the Kadosh Baruch Hu.
ולפי שהייתה מחשבת הלב מסהיפחס הרבה ואין לה קימה ומהירוס Avar ha-hir-horim al Hanefesh. And because that it is the thought of the heart, I don't know this word, mishafeches.
Right. That the fisha makshavas alev misafekes harbe, since the thoughts of the heart change very much, misafekes, that they change very much.
And there's not kimes to establish.
That Ein lo kima the mehiros over. There's no there's no kima meaning there's no consistency because of the the quickness that they pass Yehurim al nefesh, because of the quickness that the thoughts of a person pass through his mind. The thoughts of a person pass very quickly through his mind, so they have no consistency and continuity. That's usually the way people think, in a very disjointed, in a very non-permanent way. To concentrate is very difficult. It takes effort to concentrate. The way the mind works is it's always constantly having different thoughts enter and leave.
Aya kasha alei l'sader inyanei hatefila me'atzma. And we see that it's difficult upon a person to organize the subjects of his prayer for himself. Tiknu
Right.
Osam Razal be Melim Mitoknos. He let's see, the sages worked on this or fixed this,
They established it.
established it with the words of the supplication.
Right.
Yisad Ram Ha'adam Bilashono. And a person organizes this with his language.
Well, literally with his tongue, meaning since it's very difficult for a person to organize it and concentrate on his thoughts. So therefore, in order to allow us to pray properly and approach HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the proper way, Chazal came and they organized and structured the prayers for us. So really what's only left for us to do is to basically say the prayers. You have to have concentration. But what Chazal have done for us, if they've taken the design process out of our prayers, and they said, we are now telling you what you should pray. These are the words you say. And that's basically our avoda in prayer. You say these words. Now, that doesn't mean you can't think about other things when you're davening. You're saying words, you're supposed to be thinking about the words you're saying. But we're not responsible for inventing and creating and designing the words that we're saying. The words that we're supposed to say have already been prepared for us. And all we have to do is actually say them, and again, with the proper concentration behind that.
Mipnei shemachshavas hanefesh holichas acher ha hamemar v'nim shachas el ha-dibur. Because that the thoughts of a person they go after his words.
Right. The way it's supposed, if a person's saying, if a person's saying something, so the words that he's saying should be having an effect on his thoughts.
V'nim sachas al hadibur. What is this word nim sachas?
That the that mipnei shemakshavas hanefesh holech acher hamaimer v'nim sheches el hadibur. That the thoughts of a person go after the statement and continue to dibur, to actual speech. In shek is that they continue on to speech.
Okay, so in other words, the sages have constructed the prayers such that they lead us to think in certain patterns.
That's right. That's right. For example, after the first three brachas, you have Havos, there's Mesim, and Kedusha. Then the first bracha is Honein Das. Kadosh Baruch gives a person das, understanding. So if a person is going to think about those words that he's saying, that should automatically bring a person to a state of humbleness, humility, and submission to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Kadosh Baruch Hu, if you really think about what you're saying, that Hashem is the one who's giving you das, He's giving you understanding, He's giving you consciousness. Without Hashem allowing you, a person would not have consciousness, neither of himself or anything else in existence. So that's a very humbling statement if he puts his mind to thinking about it. So the humility that a person is supposed to have in davening to Hashem, and at all times, in fact, stems from the fact that he's saying those things and thinking at the same time he's saying it.
Let's see. V'haisa hatfila milos v'inyanem v'hamilos tzrichos al ha'inyan v'ha'inyan Eino tzarich el hadibur. So let's see, and it is that the prayer the words of the prayer and the subject of the prayer.
Right. Like I said, feel milos ve'inyanim. The prayer is words and, I mean, in this case, like concept and concepts.
And the concepts require for the subject What's this repetition? The subject and the subject?
Well, it's this is a it says a prayer consists of words and concepts. Now, the words require the concept, and the concept does not require speech. He changes it from words to speech, meaning words require a concept, meaning the words are only the components of a larger meta topic, which is the concept. So for the words to take form, you have to have a concept. So, for example, you have a concept of let's say honing das, that the person has consciousness. So that concept that a person has consciousness, right? So the words of the prayer are going to revolve around that concept. But the concept, that concept exists independently from the speech. Meaning you don't have to, for the concept to exist, you don't have to speak about it. The concept exists in the person's mind. Right? But words don't exist without a concept. It's a bit of a difficult thing to grasp. Is it fitting in here?
Um, so his words require that there be a context, but the context does not require that there be words. Um, the context doesn't require that there be words.
Well, really, concept,
The,
not a
con- the,
context.
con- concept, the concept doesn't require that there be words. But if you don't have words, how can you express the concept?
Hmm. You're right, if you want to express it, but the concept exists independent from the words.
In
To
other words,
express it,
you can just think the concept without saying anything.
right. Did they translate that in any way, Mayor, that statement?
Yeah, they've been translating inyan as meaning, and let's see, it says just going back a little. Words need meaning. Meaning, however, needs no words. When it is possible to grasp it in the heart, for the meaning is our primary aim and the essence of our purpose.
Okay, so they say meaning, but I think concept is better, be a little more specific in meaning, but meaning is
Okay.
also okay. That's okay. Um, so again, let's just try and work on this. That for a concept to exist, so that concept exists irregardless as if there are words. But words are not going to exist if there's no concept. Like what let's just try and pick let's pick a concept. Want to use any particular example? Let's see if we can illustrate this a little bit better. What kind of concept should we pick on? Any ideas?
Tzedakah.
Okay, fine. So there's a concept of tzedakah. There's a mitzvah of tzedakah. There's giving tzedakah. So that all exists. That concept of Gemilas Chasadim. That tzedakah is a subcategory of Gemilas Chasadim. That's a larger concept. Right? Gemilas Chasadim. So that concept of being kind to people, doing things to benefit people, that exists, and that can be done even without words, right? But the words, if there's no concept, right? There's no referencing of words to something that you don't, if you don't have a concept to reference them to. If, for example, if there would be a world where everything had whatever it needed, and there was no lack in there was no lack whatsoever of anything, then there'd be no need for Gemilos Hasadim. There would be no need for Gemilos Hasadim. There would be no words that would describe it or reference to it. Right? I was recently discussing with someone certain concepts. So we started talking about I don't know if you ever read the book Flatland, the book about it's a very many layered book. So
I've read it.
Excuse me?
I have read it.
Okay. So it's basically a book that it's about an existence that only has a two-dimensional existence.
Right.
So they can't, in such an existence, they can't imagine what a sphere is. A sphere doesn't exist to them. Excuse me?
I said, right. It just seems
Right.
like a line that changes its length.
Right. And but they're getting the whole picture wrong. It's in the true, I don't know, in a three-dimensional existence, right? It exists as something else. In a two-dimensional existence, it exists like this, right? So they wouldn't have any words for sphere, right? And all the other different words which would maybe go along with that, because they don't have that concept. So that's what I think what he's saying here a little bit. It's a interesting thought that hine tefillah milos ve'inyanim. Tefillah, prayer is basically, prayer consists of words and concepts. Milos tzrikin es inyan. The inyan ain't tzrikin eladibur. And the milos, they require that you have the concept. And the inyan, the concept is not needed except for dibur, meaning to express the concept, you need the dibur. But that's only to express the concept. But the concept exists independently from the words. But to express the concept, you need the words. All right, let's continue on a bit. I mean, in a certain way, what he's saying, his meaning is really a little bit different. what he's really saying is tefillah requires words and also the kavanah. I'm changing a little bit from what we said concepts, or in Meir's translation, meaning, but it needs kavanah. Prayer consists of words and kavanah, right? And concentration on a particular concept, right? The concept requires the kavanah, the concentration. So words to 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 express a word, you have to concentrate to express a word. But the kavanah, I mean the kavanah doesn't need the words. It's a bit of a difficult. Let me just see. I want to just look in the Sefer on Havos and Halavovos and see how they explain it. 1 minute. One second. Um, one second. Here in this Sefer that I'm looking at, it says that tefillah includes both milim, but token. Token is like um, expression.
Hmm.
Words are required for expression, but expression is not required for the words.
I'm sorry, it doesn't require what?
Um, 1 second. It says right. It says tefillah consists of milim v'token, content. Token is content. The tefillah prayer consists of words and content. Like I said, concepts. Milim to kukos the token. The words that you're going to express are dependent upon the concept. I mean, the words, when it comes to prayers, the words you're going to say are dependent upon the concept. I will token the concept in a zokok the miras and milim, but the concept is not dependent on the words that you say. I think let's go a little further. I think you may illustrate this in a little bit. Maybe I'll try to get a better understanding of it.
Shar lisadro believe that when it's possible to grasp the heart, grasp in the heart.
Well, the sidral, when it's possible to arrange it in a person's heart or arrange it in a person's mind.
To arrange.
Right.
In the
Seder,
heart.
Seder is an arrangement. Sidro is to
Right.
arrange.
So ki hu ikar kivana so the alav mishan migim sanu because it is the essence of his intention.
Right, that, right, the right, that because the concept that when it's possible to have it arranged in a person's mind, that's going to be the primary intention, and it's upon that which we rely for our perspective. And that's what we rely upon for our perspective. Meaning, if the concept is clearly fixed in a person's mind, so based on that, a person can now have the proper concentration on this particular concept.
Without words.
Yeah. Okay.
Hello, tir'eh ma she'amru Rizal be'es hadchak. And
So here he's saying, take a look. Hello, Tira. Come and see. Mash Amr Razal B'Shasataka. Come and see what Chazal have said about a Shasataka is like a emergency situation. Let's see. You know what? Let's stop here because we're not going to finish this paragraph. And we're starting a point of illustration here. So let's make a break here. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Maybe we'll begin the paragraph here tomorrow again.
okay, thank you, Rabbi. This is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll try and work it out tomorrow again. It's a show.
Okay. Ishkayak,
Okay,
Lou.
Here.
take a break. We'll be back in Mr. Bruce here shortly.
Okay.